Okay, my friends, one last little thing about ain't. My advice: use it if you're comfortable with the fact people may judge you. Other YouTube videos for Brazilians learning English, they will say, don't use ain't, don't use it, don't use it. I don't agree with that. You can use it, but you need to know that the person may judge you. The person might think that you didn't receive a good education. They might think that you didn't learn how to speak English correctly. They might think that you learned how to speak English from a person from the southern part of the United States. They will have these assumptions about you. If you use it in the right circumstances. For example, if you are with a group of people from the South in Atlanta and everybody says ain't, you can say ain't. But if you are in New York with people who don't say ain't, probably it's not a good idea to say ain't. But if you want, you can. I use it, but I know when to turn it off and to turn it on. When I'm with my friends who say ain't, I say ain't. When I'm with my friends who don't say ain't, I don't say ain't. I know how to turn it on and turn it off. Okay? That's my advice. And this joke is pretty funny. This guy is supposed to be an American redneck, caipira, and this guy's supposed to be a Latino. Pretty funny. If you want to pause it and read it, you can. All right, now, some other important words in this chapter. Budget travel. Budget is, now if translate word for word, budget is fraturamento or orçamento. Budget travel, if you translate for word for word, would be viajar de orçamento. But really, it means low-cost traveler. Budget travel is staying in hostels, which are hotels that have many beds, eating cheap food, maybe doing this, which is called hitchhiking in English. This is budget travel. These are budget travelers. She is budget traveling. Pastry. In the plural, it's pastries. Pastries are food that comes from bread that typically have a sweet filling. A filling in Portuguese is a recheio. So a bread that has a sweet filling, a sweet recheio, these are called pastries. These are very popular in France. However, in the United States, we have these too, especially in coffee shops like a Starbucks. They have a lot of pastries. Pastries are delicious. Croissants are a form of pastries. Here you can see them. In Prudente Mall, they have croissants. An amateur. An amateur is a person who is very good at something, but they are not a professional. They don't make money. For example, she is probably an amateur weightlifter. She lifts weights, but she doesn't make money. She does it because she loves it. She's an amateur. These are amateur chess players. They are at a tournament. These are not professionals, they're amateurs. Rolling hills. Now, a hill is like a coluna or a subida. Rolling hills are areas of continuous hills of similar elevations. For example, these are rolling hills. These are rolling hills. Around Santo Anastasio, you have many rolling hills. Somewhat. Somewhat is how we typically say more or less. Now, more or less is easy for Latinos to say, for Brazilians to say, because in Portuguese and Spanish you have más or menos, which is more or less. It's easy to translate. But we typically, or we more frequently say somewhat. And somewhat means more or less. But we more often say somewhat. But they have the same meaning. They are synonyms. That's it, my friends. Bye-bye.